Hi, I'm John Maxwell. When the top companies in the world are looking for trainers, speakers, and coaches, there's one name that stands above the rest, and that's Maxwell Leadership. Our certified team members have gotten proven results for companies all over the globe, and our reputation, I'm proud to say, is second to none. Some of our members have risen to the top of their profession, including the one you're going to meet today. I proudly introduce you to my friend Bob Fabian Zinka.
Welcome to the Leadership and Success Podcast with your host, Coach BZ, where we help you lead with purpose and succeed with impact. If you're ready to grow into the kind of leader others want to follow, this podcast is for you. If you're determined to elevate your success and leave a lasting legacy, this podcast is for you. As my mentor, Dr. John C. Maxwell reminds us, everything rises and falls on leadership. Our goal is simple: to inspire you, challenge you, and equip you with insights that can transform the trajectory of your leadership journey. Welcome aboard to another episode of the Leadership and Success Podcast with Coach BZ.
All right, everyone, welcome to another special edition of the Leadership and Success Podcast. So we are going back to chapter 16 of the book of Proverbs. This is the artificial intelligence recap. So it's been a while. I've been trying to do this for quite a while. So now the time is right. And I am hoping that in the coming days, we're going to continue with Proverbs chapter 17 all the way up to the 31st chapter. So as is our custom, we like to spend just a moment being grateful every time we meet. So if you would maybe close your eyes if you can. Put yourself in your happy place, maybe take a deep breath, slow down your nervous system, and think about one thing you are grateful for today. This morning I was having some trouble getting out of bed, and I am just grateful that there is somebody out there who probably has worse time than I do, right? Many times in life, we kind of focus on ourselves and the challenges we go through, and we feel like, poor me, poor me, poor me. But the truth is, there are a lot of people out there who are in a much, much worse condition than you are. Somebody would be willing to trade their lives for yours. I know I've been in America since I was 17 years old, and we do have poor people in America, but poverty in America is nothing like poverty in Africa. I can guarantee you that. Okay, you can be poor in America and have $200 Nike, Air Jordan, or whatever big screen TV. That's definitely not the case in the part of Africa I am originally from. So there are at least 1,000 people who would like to take your place, no matter how much challenge you find your life right now. So I am just grateful today that I am where I am, not where I used to be. I may not be where I want to be, but I am in a good place, and I am grateful for what I have and for today. Another chance to be alive, another chance to move around, another chance to work toward my purpose. So that's what I'm grateful for. So if you would please let us know in the chat where you are joining us from and what you are grateful for today. And as you guys know, I decided to have not just Black History Month, but Black History Year. So every single day until the end of 2026, we are going to be celebrating Black history, because Black history is American history. So let's talk about some things that happen today in Black history. Right? Today is March the 3rd. So if you go back and you look at my feed, you're going to learn more about this. But on March the 3rd, 1813, that was during the height of the War of 1812, the U.S. Navy formally reversed its August 1798 ban on African-American sailors, allowing persons of color to serve on public vessels of the United States. So they finally did that officially, and blacks were able to join the fight and fight for their country, even though many of them were slaves back then. So that's one date to remember. And you can go to my feed on LinkedIn and find out more. And I also want to highlight another hero, a first in the military, the very first woman, African-American woman, admiral in the U.S. Navy. And her name is Lillian Fishburne. She was the very, very first African-American woman admiral. On February 1st, 1998, Lillian was promoted to Rear Admiral, becoming the first African-American woman admiral in the history of the U.S. Navy. And I have a short clip I am going to show about Admiral Fishburne. She's really a great American hero.
Most people told her it was impossible, but she didn't just join the Navy, she led it. If you believe in honoring Black excellence, hit that share button right now and help this go viral. We are honoring a true pioneer today. Meet Lillian E. Fishburne. In 1973, she stepped into a world that wasn't designed for her. She was a woman of color in a field dominated by tradition, but Lillian had a vision. She specialized in the Navy's most complex communications and tech systems, proving her brilliance at every single rank. For 25 years, she climbed. And then, on February 1st, 1998, the world watched history unfold. Lillian Fishburne was promoted to Rear Admiral. She became the first African-American woman in the history of the United States Navy to achieve flag rank. Think about that. She didn't just break a glass ceiling. She shattered it for every woman of color who followed in her footsteps. From the Naval Postgraduate School to commanding tech stations in Japan, she showed us that excellence has no boundaries. Admiral Fishburne retired in 2001 after 28 years of service, but her legacy lives on. Help us make sure the world knows her name. Drop a salute in the comments and subscribe for more untold Black history.
Oh, Admiral Fishburne was just remarkable. So this is going to do it for our celebrating Black History Year. So now let's get into Proverbs chapter 16. So you guys can go back and watch all of the episodes from January 1st to January 31st. We went through every single book of Proverbs, one chapter a day. You can watch the hour-long conversations that we had. And today I'm just going to give you like a 10-minute, 15 minutes recap, all done by artificial intelligence. And again, you can watch those episodes wherever you have access to podcasts, your favorite podcast platform, from Spotify to Apple Podcast or iHeart or whatever platform you prefer, including LinkedIn and YouTube. So first, we are going to get a 8-minute recap. I used a platform called Notebook LM by Google. So it's going to give you kind of like, the essential of what we talked about on January 16 about Proverbs chapter 16. Here we go.
Today, we're diving into an ancient text that has some, well, shockingly modern things to say to leaders. We're talking about Proverbs 16. It's the kind of wisdom that cuts right through the noise, especially in high-stakes fields like military command or the tech C-suite. If you're a leader, you know this feeling, right? You spend weeks, maybe months, building the roadmap, planning the mission, trying to account for every single variable, and then, bam, reality hits. That huge gap between our perfect plans and the messy, unpredictable world, that's exactly where real leadership is born.
And that brings us to the core idea from Proverbs. See, the goal isn't to tighten your group and control every outcome. No, it's about chasing something way more powerful: alignment. Aligning with your mission, with solid principles, and with a purpose that's so much bigger than any one plan.
So let's start by tearing down the biggest trap any leader can fall into. It's this powerful and honestly completely exhausting idea that we can have total control. This one verse from Proverbs 16 just perfectly captures the leader's paradox. Of course we have to plan. That's our job. We do the hard work of charting the course. But at the end of the day, we have to accept that the final outcome is shaped by things way beyond our command. And you know what? That's not a sign of weakness. That's true wisdom.
Okay, so if total control is out, what's the alternative? Well, it's all about building a solid foundation of alignment. And that work, it starts internally. It's about the mindset you build before you even make your first move.
And here we go. Our first big lesson from the text: Our culture is obsessed with results, right? It's all about what you achieve. But this ancient wisdom tells us to look at the why. You can hit every single target, but if your motive was all about ego instead of serving the mission, that win is empty. And believe me, it will not last.
And this slide just lays it out, crystal clear. There are two paths. Are you chasing the title for the prestige, or are you seeing the role as a responsibility? Are you doing it for the recognition or for the impact you can make? One path is all about me, and the other is all about the mission. The path you choose changes absolutely everything. So here's the bottom line on this point. Getting your motives aligned has to come first. It is the non-negotiable starting point. Before you can truly advance your team or your mission, you have to get your own heart right. Your inner compass is what sets your outer course.
All right, on to lesson number 2. This one speaks directly to that tension between our plans and the real world. Now, this isn't an excuse to just stop planning. Not at all. The idea is to plan with everything you've got, but to hold that plan with an open hand, so you're ready to pivot the second the world throws you a curveball.
And you know, this idea is captured so brilliantly in modern military thinking. General Colin Powell's 40-70 rule is a total masterclass in this. You make your move when you have between 40 and 70% of the information you wish you had. Any less, you're just gambling. Any more, and you've waited too long and the opportunity is gone. It's the art of moving decisively through the fog of war. And the key principle here is just profound. Real confidence in leadership doesn't come from a white-knuckled grip on every little detail. It comes from trusting your preparation, trusting your team, and trusting your purpose. It's about making that courageous shift from trying to control everything to empowering everyone.
Okay, so we've laid that foundation of alignment. Now, let's build the pillars that hold the whole structure up. These are the absolute non-negotiables of a leader's inner character. We're going to unpack 3 of these pillars straight from Proverbs 16. We're talking integrity, which is basically the currency of trust. Then we'll tackle pride, the silent threat. And finally, we'll see how real influence actually flows from your character. So, lesson 3, integrity. In high-stakes environments, whether it's a military operation or a cybersecurity team, this is not a soft skill. It is the absolute bedrock of leadership. Every tiny ethical compromise is a crack in that foundation. Because we all know this, right? Trust takes years to build and can be completely vaporized in a single moment. Next up is pride, what the source calls the silent killer of leadership. And what's so dangerous about it is how it creeps in. You can see the progression here. It doesn't just show up one day. It starts with good things like praise and success. But then you add unchecked authority to the mix, and suddenly it can twist into self-exaltation, which always comes before a fall. It's a sobering thought. The more success you have, the more humility you need. And that humility leads us right into lesson 5, which is all about influence. The source gives us this beautifully simple piece of wisdom from the author's mom. You've got 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. Real influence isn't about being the loudest person in the room. It's about having the discipline to listen more than you talk. It's about trying to understand before you demand to be understood. So we've covered the inner world of a leader. But how does that character actually translate into action? Now we move from the internal stuff to the external craft, the daily practice of mastery. Lesson 6 brings us to a story we all know, the tortoise and the hare. As you can see, the hare is all about raw, explosive power. It's fast, it's flashy, and it runs on motivation. But the tortoise, that represents self-mastery. It's slow, it's steady, and it runs on discipline. In the long marathon of leadership, relentless consistency will lap flashy intensity every single time. This is the engine behind what people call the compound effect. Leadership greatness isn't made in a few big, heroic moments. It's built in the thousands of small, unseen, disciplined choices you make every single day. The best leaders, they don't sit around waiting for motivation to strike. They rely on their discipline. And those tiny, daily investments of effort, they compound over time into a massive fortune of results. And that brings us to our final section. We're going to zoom out now, from the daily grind to the ultimate horizon. We're looking past today's to-do list to the final measure of a leader's entire journey. Our final lesson from Proverbs 16 is all about perspective. Look at this timeline. It draws a straight line from the choice you make today all the way to your legacy tomorrow. That decision in this meeting, that call on this project, it's not just a one-off. It's another brick in the wall of your reputation. It's a little preview of the person you'll be at 80 years old. It's a seed you're planting for the legacy you will eventually leave behind. This forces every single one of us to ask a really fundamental question. Are you building a resume, a reputation, or a legacy? A resume, that's just a list of your accomplishments. A reputation is what people say about you today. But a legacy, that's what's woven from the threads of your character over a lifetime. It's the story they'll tell about you long after the job title is gone. So to bring this all home, the source material gives us this 5-part challenge. This is the real work. Number 1, examine your motives. Get brutally honest about your why. 2, strengthen your discipline. Master those small daily choices. 3, invite honest feedback. Find people who will tell you the truth, not just what you want to hear. 4, guard your integrity like it's the most precious thing you own. And finally, number 5, always, always think long-term. Lead with your legacy in mind. Which really just leaves us with one final question to think about. At the end of it all, what's going to define your leadership? Is it going to be how perfectly you planned everything, plans that will always be at the mercy of a world you can't control? Or will it be how humbly you aligned yourself with a purpose that will last long after you're gone?
All right, so let us know in the comment your 3 to 5 takeaways. But I think for me, one of the most important things from Proverbs chapter 16 is verse 31. Let me see if I can play that for you because I think it is so important. That's how I try to live my life. And yesterday I interviewed Amy, and she told me the same thing. She already lives her life so that when she's old, she says in her 80s, she can look back and be proud of all of the decision she actually made. And I think that is so, so powerful. So let me share my screen again and let me play that one verse, verse 31. It should show up here in just a second. Okay, I thought I just shared my screen. Let's see. Let's try one more time. Sometimes I have to do it twice. So I'm going to share. Hold on, maybe it's. Okay, it looks like, okay, I had already shared it. So let me just change what I see. Come on. Okay, let me try one more way. Okay, I'm going to share my screen one more time. Just a second. Okay, I don't know why it's not allowing me to share my screen right now. But anyway, let me just read this. It's gonna be faster. It says, "The silver hair head is a crown of glory. It is found in the way of righteousness." So Proverbs 16, verse 31. The silver hair is a crown of glory. I can tell you right now, a lot of the billionaires across America who are in the Epstein file, their silver hair is not a crown of glory right now. They regret a lot of the things they did, the people they hang around, even though they may not have done something illegal or something immoral, but just the poor decision they made, who they spent their time with. They are very, very sorry for that. Many of them are losing their reputation. It took a lifetime to build. And just like that, their reputation is gone. And they're pretty old. They are in their late years now. And that's probably how they're going to be remembered for the rest of their life. So when you are young and you make the right decision, you do what is hard and you keep your integrity and your character intact. When you are old, you're going to be so glad that you made the decision that you made. And I think that is so, so powerful. Okay, let's hear one more time. We're going to get about a 10 minutes summary, again, all done by artificial intelligence. And as you are listening to me, please let us know again where you are.
The silver-haired head is a crown of glory. If it is found in the way of righteousness,
Welcome back. Let's dive into some timeless leadership insights drawn from Proverbs 16 that are surprisingly spot on for both military command. Welcome back. Let's dive into some timeless leadership insights drawn from Proverbs 16 that are surprisingly spot on for both military command and modern. If the motives aren't aligned with service rather than ego or prestige.
right?
Today, we're diving into
Welcome back. Let's dive into some timeless leadership insights drawn from Proverbs 16 that are surprisingly spot on for both military command and modern tech leadership.
Absolutely, these lessons hit home. So, what's the first big idea that stands out to you?
Well, the big theme right off the bat is that motives matter much more than methods. It's like you can have the best strategy in the world, but if your underlying intent is questionable, then the plan is doomed. In Proverbs 16, it emphasizes that our perceptions of purity in our actions can be deceiving if the motives aren't aligned with service rather than ego or prestige.
Right? And that really parallels what Simon Sinek says about starting with why. It forces leaders to scrutinize whether they're pursuing command for stewardship or for the glory.
And following that, there's this idea of planning diligently but holding outcomes loosely. Like planning meticulously while understanding that control is, frankly, an illusion. It reminds me of General
Yeah, I
Colin
get that.
Powell's 40 to 70 rule. You make decisions with enough information instead of waiting for perfect clarity.
So, you're saying that in both a military operation and in cybersecurity projects, overly rigid planning can be as dangerous as under-planning.
Yes, exactly. Leaders are encouraged to adapt quickly to change. Whether you're writing a security protocol or commanding a unit, it's crucial to plan your actions carefully, but remain flexible for unforeseen challenges.
Now, integrity is another huge cornerstone, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Integrity is portrayed as a leader's currency in Proverbs 16. Better a little with righteousness than much gain with injustice. It's a solid reminder that ethical erosion, no matter how small, can lead to catastrophic
Right.
failures. Especially in fields like cybersecurity, where trust is built over years and can be lost in seconds, integrity really stands out as non negotiable.
I can see that. But, what about pride? It seems like an insidious element that creeps in without warning.
You bet. Proverbs warns that pride goes before destruction. Pride is like a silent predator. It grows slowly through praise and success and eventually blinds us. In a way, when leaders let pride take over, it distorts their judgment and can ultimately bring down what they've built. I even recall a discussion where a retired commander noted that true leadership is rooted in humility, not arrogance.
That makes sense. But isn't there a risk that humility might be mistaken for weakness?
Well, that's a common misconception. In our conversation, the point was made very clearly that humility actually represents strategic strength. It's about inviting honest feedback, challenging your assumptions, and, being open to dissent. A leader who embraces humility creates space for collective wisdom.
Yeah, that's a crucial distinction. And speaking of communication, the idea that influence flows from character also came up, didn't it?
Right on. Influence, according to Proverbs 16, isn't about charisma or flashy speeches. It's about disciplined communication. Your words, tone, and even how well you listen are all part of it. It's like Stephen Covey says, seek first to understand, then to be understood. Effective leaders focus on clarity, letting actions speak louder than boastful words.
That might be tough in high-pressure environments like the military or cybersecurity crises, though, right?
True, and that brings us to discipline. Proverbs 16 stresses that discipline shapes destiny. Leaders must master self-control. In moments of stress, staying calm and measured is key. Think about it. Just as the tortoise wins the race with steady persistence, disciplined actions day in and day out build true legacy.
Absolutely. I find that analogy really fitting. But sometimes I wonder, how do we ensure that discipline doesn't become rigid too?
That's a great point. It's about inner discipline translating to outer strength without turning into inflexibility. Leaders are encouraged to know their triggers and work continuously on self-mastery, whether it's controlling temper in tense military operations or keeping a cool head during a cyber breach.
And ultimately, all these lessons converge on the idea of building a lasting legacy, don't they?
Exactly. Proverbs 16 concludes that legacy isn't about fleeting performance. It's about who you become over time. Legacy is built through righteous living, integrity, and service. Leaders are challenged to think long-term. Are you building just a resume or an enduring reputation? It's a call to focus on impact rather than transient titles.
Right, totally. Now, if I might, I'd like to respectfully challenge one thing. Sometimes too much reliance on ancient wisdom might overlook modern challenges. Do you think these principles fully translate into the fast-paced tech world?
That's a valid concern. However, the beauty of these insights is that they're timeless. Sure, the context has evolved, but the core values remain relevant. It's like using a well-tested blueprint. You adapt the details to the modern framework, whether in Silicon Valley or on a naval vessel.
I see what you mean. So the essence of disciplined leadership and integrity is universal.
Absolutely. And that's the power of this wisdom. It's a unifying code that transcends industries. For instance, both military officers and cybersecurity professionals face complex challenges where alignment with higher principles is the key to lasting success.
Yep. And it seems that there's also a challenge for leaders now, something like a call to action. How do you see that?
Spot on. The challenge is clear. Examine your motives, invite honest feedback, and let your actions be guided by humility and service. Leaders are asked to reflect on everyday decisions. Ask yourself, is your leadership driven by the desire to serve or just for personal gain? It's a continuous process of self-improvement, really.
Yeah, that's a potent reminder. It's almost like that one moment in life where you have to decide if you're going to build something meaningful or just add another achievement to your list.
Exactly. And the concept of alignment precedes advancement really captures that. Instead of chasing titles or titles for title's sake, leaders are encouraged to be servant leaders and build a culture of trust.
And there's also a nice touch about how small, disciplined actions, kind of like the compound effect, build up over time to create exponential results. It reminds me of how tiny daily habits can shape a whole career.
Yes, that's spot on. It's all about consistency. In both military leadership and cybersecurity, the everyday actions matter just as much as the grand strategies. Those consistent choices pave the way for legacy and genuine influence.
Absolutely. When we talk about influence flowing from disciplined communication, can you give an example of how that might look in a tech environment?
Sure, imagine a tech leader steering a security team during a breach. It's not about shouting orders, it's about clear, measured communication. The leader listens to the team, sums up the critical points, and guides decisions with calm decisiveness. It's like crafting a narrative that everyone can align
Yeah, that
with.
makes total sense. And in the military context, I suppose it's similar, where every word can be a matter of life and death.
Exactly. That's why every communication must be purposeful. It's not just about directing orders, but about building trust and ensuring that everyone understands the mission clearly.
And another element is the idea that leaders must constantly be open to correction. How do you think that ties into all these principles?
That's a key point. A leader's willingness to accept critique is the embodiment of humility. It reinforces the idea that leadership is about service and continuous learning. If you're closed off, then you risk stagnation and, frankly, the downfall of your legacy. It's like having a built-in system of checks and balances.
Right, I totally agree. In wrapping up, it seems that these 7 lessons, from motives to legacy, create a framework that's both challenging and deeply rewarding for leaders.
Exactly. It teaches that leadership is not merely about strategy or outcomes, it's about alignment with higher principles, embracing humility, and building an enduring legacy. Whether you're in uniform, a tech innovator, or even leading within your community, these lessons offer a blueprint for success that's as relevant today as it was thousands of years ago.
And clearly, the call to action is to examine our own motives, embrace disciplined communication, and depend on ethics to guide us through challenges. What a powerful reminder for every leader out there.
Absolutely. So whether you lead in a boardroom, on a battlefield, or within your tech team, let these insights remind you that true leadership is about serving with the highest integrity, disciplining yourself even when no one's watching, and ultimately building a legacy of trust.
Yep. Thanks for this enriching discussion. It's incredible how these ancient proverbs still resonate so well in our modern leadership challenges.
No doubt about it. Until next time, keep questioning, keep aligning, and, well, keep leading with excellence.
Cheers to that.
Thank you for tuning in to the Leadership and Success Podcast with your host, Coach BZ. If today's episode added value to your leadership journey, be sure to subscribe, share, and join us again for more wisdom nuggets on how to lead better and achieve greater success. Remember, leadership is the most critical skill of our time. The world will always need leaders to inspire others, drive innovation, and execute meaningful strategy. So why not count yourself among the bold leaders shaping the 21st century? Until next time, stay inspired, stay committed, and keep leading with excellence.